All right, so the topic that I chose to speak on is the case of Anissa Ayala. I hope that I'm saying her name right. Um, so I chose this, first of all, because I thought that I knew so much about it, and turns out I didn't. So that was fun. So Anissa, pictured on the left here, obviously the sick person in the picture. She was born March 27th, 1972. At the very young age of 15, she was diagnosed with leukemia, not just leukemia. If you don't know this, leukemia has like a bunch of different subcategories. She was actually diagnosed with a super rare leukemia called chronic myelogenous. Probably butchering that one as well. Um, but so she's still alive today, married for the second time. Um, she received a bone marrow transplant from her 1 year old little sister at 19 years old in 1991. So, um, this is where we're going to get into our ethical dilemmas is the 1 year old sister. So, after their story, I guess, was released to the media, the public decided to get involved in whether or not her parents were doing the right thing, whatnot. This, let me move it. Can I move this? Yes. This movie here on the right, For the Love of My Child, the Anissa Ayala story, was made. It's really kind of like a documentary, but like a movie. It was released in '93. She had been in remission for 2 years at that point. According to an interview that I read in an article, an interview with Anissa's mother, the movie's pretty accurate. Of course, any movie's going to take their freedoms of doing whatnot, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. So I feel like hearing it from her parent, specifically the people that were directly involved in it, saying that this movie pretty much hit the nail on the head. That speaks volumes for us there. So this is one that this is a story, and I I kind of harp on that because my next slide here. Um, if you Google Anissa Ayala, this is what you're going to come across. You come across the other one as well, but this is where I thought that I knew everything from. um, this was a book that was released in 2004. And they later made a movie on it in 2009. It's called My Sister's Keeper. And this is not the Anissa Ayala story. I'm really not 100% confident if the author maybe alluded to the fact that this is based on that story or if people just assumed it or what, but this ain't it, y'all. um, this story specifically, My Sister's Keeper, has the younger sister that was born to help her, the sick sister. I mean, pretty much an organ factory. Like, if they could take it out and put it in the sick sister, they did. I mean, it's sad, really. It's terrible. And in this story, the donor sister actually sues her parents for trying to get medical emancipation for herself because she was tired of them making those decisions for her. She had no sense of autonomy, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this presentation. But then also later in the story, it does let you know that the sick sister actually kind of pushed her towards that decision as well because she was tired of it herself. She was tired of fighting, really. She was tired of all the surgeries, tired of being sick all the time. She was really just ready to meet her maker, whoever that was for her. But my point with this one is I thought I knew it all coming into this presentation because I just knew all about this story from My Sister's Keeper, and it just ain't it. But a lot of the world thinks that this is the Anissa Ayala story, and I'm here to tell you, it ain't. You're wrong. So, get back to Anissa. So after their story come out, we have this documentary that everybody watched. The media and everyone's just so intrigued by it, and they had all these great big opinions of what they thought should be going on. So naturally, we have magazine covers, interviews, articles, all this stuff with the family. And I'm sure at this age, after going through all of that, this was probably a pretty rough time on the girls. But I mean, hey, she looks happy to be alive, I would say. So, this obviously, if you can't tell, you should. Anissa is holding Marissa on her shoulders. So this one here is a lot older. Anissa on the right, Marissa on the left. Currently, in like today, Marissa is a college graduate. Anissa is married, and I actually read in an article that had an interview with Marissa that she would absolutely be willing to carry children for Anissa if she wanted to. So, I mean, I really feel like with the ethical debates that were going on around this case, that just kind of pushes it home for me that, like, this is her family. She would do anything for her. So, a parent will do anything for their child as well. Just keep that in mind. So, these ethical principles that are kind of rearing their heads in this case is the principle of benevolence. And this is essentially just help someone that needs help. Like, just if you can help somebody that's in need, do it. And that's what Anissa's parents were doing for her. It might not have seemed like the perfect situation for everybody else, but a mother and father that were desperate to save their child decided that when traditional ways weren't working for them to find a donor, they'd do it themselves. And I mean, it worked for them. 1 in 4 siblings is a perfect match for a bone marrow transplant. And Anissa's brother was not a match. So they figured their best chance, since the bank essentially didn't have any matches for her, try their chance at having another child that they could love and save their child that's already sick. So, and it worked out for them because she was a match. She was able to save her sister's life. So she helped her when she was in need. Whether she made that decision for herself or not, her parents made it for her. And I honestly think that if she could go back, she would make the decision for herself. So that's the next ethical principle that we're going to get into is the principle of autonomy. At 1-year-old, no, she did not make the decision to donate her bone marrow. She also didn't make the decision to be born. Neither did I. I mean, I hate to really be this way about it, but legally a 1-year-old has no say-so over their body anyways. They can't make that decision. They don't have the mental fortitude to make that decision. Her parents were making the best decision for everyone involved. You're not going to die from donating bone marrow. All that happened out of this donation that she didn't make the decision herself is she saved her sister, and now they have a larger family, and I mean, it's great. So, but that's definitely a dilemma that people face with this story is she didn't make that decision on her own. So the next one that I want to get into is the principle of honesty. This family did not have to tell all their business, and they seemed pretty honest about it pretty much the whole time. They didn't have to tell everybody that the husband had to have a vasectomy to try to have a child. They didn't have to tell everybody that. They could have just said, oops, we accidentally got pregnant. The vasectomy must not have worked. They did not have to be as honest as they had to be. But they were. They were honest with the media, with everyone, with family, and I think that really went a long way for me with them anyways. And here you can find the resources for where I found all of the photos of Anissa and her family and about these principles and the articles that I read with the interviews. So if you go and read them. I think that you'll enjoy it as much as I did. I definitely learned something with this, and I look forward to looking up more things that maybe I think I know everything about, but don't.